Okay, what we've got here is a 2012 RAV4, and it's got a rattle in the front end. It knocks on both struts. Now, I've since determined that it's not actually the strut, it's actually the part that sits on top of the strut, which is this plate here, which goes on top, and that has got a bearing in it, and the bearing wears and they start rattling. So if your struts are rattling, then it's likely that it's that, not necessarily the strut. However, we are putting in these nitro gas shock absorber Ultima, probably one of the best you can get, and we are replacing that, and we're going to use these spring compressors, which are notorious for slipping on the springs. So what we've got is these basically wire clamps that are about the same diameter as the spring, and we're going to lock these in position on the spring, so that'll stop them from slipping around. Some of the tools you're going to need is a set of jacks, set of stands, basically a rattle hammer of some sort, some sockets, and yeah, there you go. So that's the job that's about to happen. This side has already got the strut in it that we put in last week, and when we realised that it wasn't the actual strut, it was the actual part on the top that needed replacing, that's when work halted and I ordered the extra parts. So follow this and you'll see how it's done. Alright, well, first order of business is obviously to jack the car up. So I just use a super cheap auto jack to do that. Put the spare wheel under the car, so if it does drop down for some reason, I've at least got a stand under there and a tyre, so I won't get trapped underneath the vehicle. Always good to double up. And you had to actually hammer these bolts undone. Okay, so here's the progress so far. We've removed these two bolts out of here, which are the main bolts that hold the actual wheel to the strut, and we've moved the ABS line, removed the brake line, two 14 mils there. This is a 22 mil. So if you're wondering what tools you need a 22 mil. That's it there. But you also need the 3/16 to actually unlock that, because you won't get it done unless you've got a damn good rattle gun. And then you need, this is a 17 mil, which is here. That's 17, that one there. And yeah, that's pretty much it. 19 mil for the wheels. So 19, 17 and 22. So now we're going to come up to the bonnet and we're going to lift this up. So we're going to undo these three nuts here, and then that whole strut will drop down and we'll be able to remove the spring. Okay, so we've got those bolts out from up there, and that's allowed our strut to drop down. So we've now got all that disassembled. We can pull this strut out of here and put it down, and now it's a matter of basically replacing, pulling that spring off using those compressors, pulling that off, putting it on here and putting it back in. Simply done. Okay, here's the moment of truth. get that spring off there and put it over here. And we're going to just use this socket to tighten these 21mm up. Put a bit of compression on this spring, and that'll allow us to undo this top plate, put the spring on and replace the whole mechanism. So hopefully it'll be as simple as that. Okay, I've struck a bit of a snag because these spring compressors, I haven't been able to get it right down onto the bottom there. I've only been able to get it into those middle coils. So I haven't been able to pull it down enough to actually get the top of the spring away from the plate. So we've still got tension on the spring. Not a lot, but a bit, enough to stop it from coming out. So I'm going to try tying some wire on it and putting some tension on this wire and see if that works. Hopefully we'll get them off. Okay, well that went reasonably smoothly. We had to use a bit of fencing wire to get the extra tension on the spring, but nonetheless it's done and the spring is in. So we just cut this wire now, so then we'll release the pressure on the spring, and that'll put the load back on to the strut, and we'll be good. Okay, so we just tighten these up. They have to be significantly tight, so you just do them up as tight as you can. So we've got the strut back in place now. So clean up the spring a little bit, make it a little bit more presentable. So it all looks pretty tidy. I'm just going to put these big motherfucker bolts in, and then we'll tighten all this up, put the wheel back on, and it'll all be good. Okay, we're almost there. I'm just going to check the tension on these. I do love a rattle gun. Okay, they're nice and tight. That guy there, also we need to check that. Make sure it's tight. Get another socket on there. If I can get the socket off the fucking rattle gun, it'll be handy. So that one is, no, it's not that, it's not that, it's that. So that's 17mm. Okay, so we're just going to check that guy as well. Yep, all good. Okay, so that's it, installed and ready to go. Time to put the wheel back on and road test. Okay, so that's the driver's side. It's pretty straightforward. Both sides are exactly the same. So removal is the same procedure as you've seen for the passenger side. And yeah, you just pull it apart if you're mechanically minded or you've got some basic mechanical ability. This is not extremely complex. Sockets you'll need 17, 22, 19 and 14, and you'll need a 3/16 ring spanner to get those lock nuts off those bolts at the bottom of the hub. So